1. Glow-in-the-dark cells. You may not know it, but your body is a dim, invisible flashlight. Japanese scientists have proven that humans emit natural bioluminescence, a light so faint we can't see it with the naked eye. It's the result of chemical reactions in the mitochondria when free radicals interact with proteins and lipids. The curious detail? This brightness varies throughout the day. We shine more in the afternoon and less in the morning, as if we had a biological lighting cycle embedded. Using ultra-sensitive cameras, researchers have captured these invisible sparks emanating from faces and hands. We're like shy fireflies, illuminating the world at a frequency our eyes simply can't perceive. Impact. This phenomenon could, in the future, be used to monitor health. Changes in brightness could indicate oxidative stress or disease even before visible symptoms appear. And if it's already weird to know that we glow in the dark, wait until you find out that our bones are stronger than concrete. 2. Bone strength. On the outside, we appear fragile, but on the inside, we carry columns of engineering. Human bones are 4 times stronger than concrete. The femur, for example, can support up to 30 times the body weight without breaking. This happens because bones are not solid. They have an internal structure called trabecular, a network of microscopic columns that distributes force intelligently, like the design of modern bridges. Impact. This natural architecture is so efficient that engineers have taken inspiration from bones to create lighter, stronger skyscrapers and airplanes. Nature invented it first. Fun fact, despite all their resilience, bones are still constantly renewed. In about 10 years, you'll have a practically new skeleton. In other words, you're literally a work in progress. And if bones can rival concrete, wait until you see the raw chemistry going on in the stomach, acidic enough to corrode metal. 3. Stomach acid. Inside you is a chemical laboratory capable of absurd things. Stomach hydrochloric acid reaches a pH of 1, strong enough to corrode metal. If it were spilled outside the body, it could damage razor blades in a matter of days. And then the question arises, why doesn't it destroy its own stomach? The answer is the protective mucosa, a mucus barrier renewed every 3 days that prevents self-destruction. It's like having a 24-hour biological shield. Impact. This acidity is essential. It dissolves food, kills bacteria, and activates digestive enzymes that only function in this extreme environment. Without this chemical bath, eating would be practically useless. Fun fact. There are rare cases where this barrier fails, creating ulcers, literally holes in the stomach. But under normal conditions, the body manages one of nature's most dangerous acids as if it were routine. And if your stomach already holds this corrosive secret, wait until you discover that your tongue carries something even more personal, unique impressions like fingerprints. 4. Tongue impressions. Everyone knows that fingerprints are unique, but what almost no one knows is that your tongue also has a unique print. The pattern of papillae, folds, and textures is so individual that scientists have proposed using the tongue as a form of biometric identification. Impact. In tests, tongue recognition systems have achieved impressive accuracy rates, comparable to fingerprints and even iris recognition. Imagine unlocking your phone by sticking out your tongue. Fun fact, the tongue isn't just a biological identity card, it's also one of the strongest and most versatile muscles in the body, capable of the subtle movements that make speech, swallowing, and even kissing possible. The funny thing? Since impressions never change, if someone had recorded your tongue as a child, they could still confirm your identity today with just a photo of your open mouth. And if the tongue already holds this secret signature, wait until you meet the body's biggest energy devourer, the brain. 5. Hungry brain. The brain weighs an average of 1.4 kilomole. just 2% of the body. But this little boss consumes about 20% of all the energy you expend at rest. In other words, even lying on the couch, your brain is burning calories like a light bulb running all the time. This expenditure is due to the electrical activity of neurons. Billions of them constantly fire signals, keeping memory, reasoning, coordination, and even dreams functioning non-stop. Impact. During moments of intense mental effort, consumption increases even more. This is why exams, meetings, or long study sessions leave you exhausted without moving a muscle. Fun fact: in some rare cases, involving people with smaller brains or severe injuries, other regions take on extra functions, consuming even more energy. It's like a computer processor overheating when overloaded. If the brain already requires so much fuel, imagine the parts of the body that never stop growing, even when everything else is aging. 6. Ears and nose that never stop growing. While most organs reach their final size in youth, there are two curious exceptions: the nose and ears. As we age, they seem to never stop growing. The explanation isn't just genetic, it involves gravity, cartilage, and collagen. Cartilage doesn't regenerate the same way bones do. Instead of stopping, it continues to slowly deform. Combined with the loss of collagen elasticity and the downward pull of gravity, the result is a longer nose and droopy ears as we age. Impact. Studies estimate that the nose grows about 0.22 millimeter per year after adulthood. It may seem small, but over decades, the difference is noticeable. Fun fact: ancient cultures already recognized this. In some places, a large nose was a symbol of wisdom and advanced age. In other words, even this biological side effect gained cultural interpretation. And if your ears and nose never stop stretching, wait until you see the invisible factory that never takes a break: your skin. 7. Skin as a factory. Skin is the largest organ in the human body and, at the same time, the most efficient factory you have. Every day, you shed and regenerate about 1 million skin cells. In a year, this equates to nearly 4 kilon of dead skin being shed. This renewal process is vital. The skin acts as a shield against radiation, microorganisms, and pollution. To maintain this barrier, the body constantly produces new layers, pushing out old cells like a biological treadmill. Impact. This regenerative capacity explains why superficial cuts heal quickly. It's literally the factory working overtime. Fun fact: researchers have discovered that household dust is largely composed of human skin cells. In other words, some of that layer on your furniture was once you. And if the skin covers and protects the exterior, inside there is an even more surprising network. A network of blood over 100,000 kilometers long. 8. Blood as a road. Inside your body is a giant highway. If all your blood vessels were stretched out in a straight line, they would be over 100,000 kilometers long, enough to circle the Earth almost twice. Arteries, veins, and capillaries form this network. Arteries carry oxygen-rich blood to the organs, while veins return carbon dioxide-rich blood. The tiny capillaries are the delivery points, like millions of tiny residential streets. Impact. This system works non-stop, transporting not only oxygen, but also nutrients, hormones, and even immune cells. It's the human body's true logistics network. Fun fact: some microscopic animals, such as flatworms, lack a circulatory system. They rely on direct diffusion. The human body, on the other hand, required this gigantic network to support complex organs like the brain. And if blood is an invisible road, the eyes are incredibly powerful cameras recording every detail of this journey. 9. Eyes as super cameras. If vessels are roads, eyes are ultra-powerful cameras. Each human eye contains about 120 million rods, responsible for black and white vision, and 6 million cones, which perceive color. The result? The ability to distinguish up to 10 million different hues. Impact. This sensitivity is so precise that you can perceive the difference between two nearly identical colors in a gradient, something computers still struggle to reproduce with the same naturalness. Fun fact, there is a condition called tetrachromasia present in some women, in which a fourth type of cone appears. These people can see up to 100 million colors, a spectrum invisible to the rest of humanity. What's more, eyes have impressive processing speed. They capture images in about 13 milliseconds, making them one of the fastest cameras in the biological world. But if your eyes reveal so much of the world, be prepared. Most of what you carry inside you isn't even human. 10. Resident bacteria. You might look in the mirror and think, I'm a 100% human. But that's not quite true. The body carries about 39 trillion bacteria compared to 30 trillion human cells. This means that, numerically, you're more bacteria than human. Most of them live in the intestine, forming the so-called microbiome. It helps digest food, produce vitamins, and even regulate mood. Some scientists even call it the second brain. Impact. Imbalances in the microbiome are linked to diseases such as obesity, diabetes, and even depression. Mental and physical health depend on that invisible army working day and night. Fun fact, each person has a unique bacterial signature, like a fingerprint. So much so that researchers are already studying the possibility of using the microbiome as an identification tool at crime scenes. And if it's already strange to think that you're made of billions of microorganisms, wait until you see the absurd speed at which your nerves transmit signals. 11. Speed of nerves. Your nerves are like biological fiber optic cables. Electrical signals can travel up to 270 mph, faster than a Formula One car. It's this speed that allows you to pull your hand away from a hot stove in milliseconds or blink when something flies toward your eye. This happens because neurons are coated with myelin, an insulating layer that speeds up electrical conduction. Without it, signals would be too slow to support reflexes and coordination. Impact. Diseases like multiple sclerosis damage this myelin, slowing down impulses. The result is a loss of coordination and reflexes, showing how dependent we are on this biological, electrical wire. Fun fact, despite their speed, nerves are still outperformed by artificial electricity. A copper cable conducts millions of times faster, but for biology, 430 km/h is practically the speed of light. And if the nerves are the cables, the entire body is the orchestra, each organ playing its part in a bizarre symphony called life. 12. The body as conductor. After exploring bones, skin, blood, eyes, and nerves, it becomes clear. The human body is an orchestra. Each organ plays its own part, and together they form the symphony called life. The heart beats to the rhythm of a drum, the lungs blow like wind instruments, the nerves fire like vibrating strings, and the brain conducts everything like a maestro. Impact. Any dissonance in this internal concert becomes an illness. It's proof that we are not made of isolated parts, but of constant connections that keep the body in balance. Fun fact, some scientists even use musical models to explain complex biological processes, comparing heartbeats to beats and brain oscillations to harmonies. We are literally music in the flesh. And here's the final lesson. The human body is bizarre, fascinating, and incredibly fine-tuned. A survival machine that, even full of flaws and improvisations, continues to play its own unique melody. Yours. See you in the next video. Close your eyes and touch your nose with your finger. Easy, right? But how did you do it without looking?